All right, we are live here on the World of Ability podcast. Welcome, everybody. We are hosted tonight by Emily Gomer over at the World of Ability podcast, and we thank you very much, Emily, for doing this. And first, we're going to do a quick word from our sponsor, debspets.com. That's DEBSPETS.com, and where we focus on a wonderful mushroom supplement for pets and humans that just boosts your immune system, helps with autoimmune disease and all kinds of things.
Shush.
We're sold on it. In fact, I'm gotten completely into the full realm of things and drinking mushroom coffee now, and I just love the power of mushrooms. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring in my co-host Anthony and Sabrina. Hello, welcome. She's our special guest tonight, and we'll let you do a little bit of intro about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hi guys, thank you for having me back.
Yes, welcome back.
We had so much fun last time. We thought we'd do it again. So here
That's right.
we are.
We're gonna run it back.
Yes, I appreciate each of you because you guys, especially Emily, she's behind the scenes. We do not see her, but she is here. She puts us together. She makes sure we get where we're supposed to get and be on cue when we're supposed to be on cue. Thank you, Emily, for doing all that you do behind the scenes. We appreciate you. I'm Sabrina, known as the Lifestyle Promoter. We help you look good and feel great as you explore the world. My background started in corporate America as an engineer, and then from there went into enterprise architecture because I also had a background in business. So corporate America or consultants thought it would be great. It would be a great idea if I problem solved for C-suite executives, which I did. It's a lot of fun. However, I did not take care of Sabrina. Many of you know that in corporate America, and I say America because European companies are a little bit different, they value downtime.
Mm-hmm.
They know how important it is to take a siesta in the middle of the day,
Mm-hmm.
how healthy it is to reboot and re-energize so you can get a fresh look at a problem that you're dealing with or a solution that you're coming up with. Well, in America, they haven't figured that out yet. So I allowed that cray cray and not taking vacation, that whole crazy idea of, I call it cray cray, okay? That whole crazy idea of not taking vacation influenced my decision to not travel the world and do what I like to do, and that's photograph it. So much so that my doctor was begging me to quit my job. She would lean into me and say, Sabrina, when are you going to quit that job? I paid attention and pivot, and here we are today. So the goal today is to share with you guys and have fun like we did before.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna be a good time. Today, specifically, I believe we're going to be talking a little more about your mushing experience, right?
Yes.
Up in Alaska. That's going to be so much fun.
Wow.
And then Anthony, you have a story to share as well.
Yeah. So a few, I don't know, it had to be within the last 2 weeks. I can't remember the whole day. Your days start to run together at a certain point in your life. But I did another podcast. I was a guest on a podcast. I don't remember how we got to talking about it. We got to talking about dogs, and I told this story of the first time I encountered a Newfoundland. So I was working a job while going through college, and it's in the Army Reserves. I'd come off of active duty. I'd already been deployed and was working this job, getting through college, and it was a like a black tie VIP security type of job where we did high end security for high end clients, and we had ended up winning contracts with like the NBA and whatnot. So we just had a lot of high end type of security gigs that we were doing. And so we were doing security at this particular hotel in Oklahoma City, and I got a call. I was the supervisor. I was the one that ran the day-to-day operations of the company. So depending on who the client was, I would even work the job. I would go out there and be in the field and working the job with them. And on this particular job, I was working, and I get a call on my earpiece on my walkie-talkie that at the hotel where this individual was staying, we had a bear in the lobby. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And so we had one of our guys in their security office, the hotel security office, who was monitoring the CCTVs. He's like, I'm telling you, there's a bear in the lobby. We got to go figure out what's going on. You guys got to go approach the person with this bear. And I'm like, I'm not approaching this person. You guys. So long story short, we finally go out there. And as soon as we step into the lobby, we're like, well, I'll be there. There's a bear in the lobby. This guy's got a bear sitting next to him. It looks like a medium-sized black bear. I'm like, what in the world? So we kind of make a game plan and we're going to approach him. And we don't know if we should come up from behind him and startle the bear or if we should approach him from the front. And we don't know what to do, but I'm just going to go up to him. Forget the bear. I'm going up to him. So I go up to talk to this guy and I approach him and go, excuse me, sir. And right then the bear starts licking me.
Wait a minute. What part was he licking?
My hand. He starts licking my hand. My hand was kind of down, around I was just walking, so my hand was kind of down near my side. And I go, excuse me, sir. And I look at this guy. And as soon as I said that, the bear starts licking me. And so I look back at the guy. The guy looks back at me and goes, yes. I said, your bear is licking me. Just like that. And he goes, I'm sorry, what? I said, your bear right here. I said, I'm going to need to know if you have like an exotic animal license. Like you can't just bring a bear in here. He goes, it's not a bear. I looked at the bear, looked back at him. He looked at the bear. He looked back at me. So it looks like a bear to me. He goes, that's a Newfoundland. It's a dog. Well, this dog show that they would do regionally, these dog shows that lead up to the big dog show, like the one they do there in the Super Bowl, that weekend there in the Super Bowl. So they have all these qualifying like shows where you bring your dog out and you get best in show and all this stuff. Well, this guy did this with Newfies. And so he had this Newfoundland. Well, I had never, outside of Peter Pan, I had never seen it. I didn't even know they really existed. I thought the new Peter Pan was made up, like I had no clue. I'd never seen this kind of dog before in my life. So that was my encounter with the black bear that ended up being a Newfoundland.
Oh, now I have to go and I'm going to have to look for this Newfoundland. Because I don't think I've seen one either until I go and look. I feel like cheating now and going over to my computer and to see what he looks like.
We might be able to get Emily to Google it and bring it. I don't know. Yeah, but this one was black. They come in multiple like shades and colors on their coat. This one was, and I remember saying to myself after that, like, that's the best home security system in the world.
Yes.
Just get yourself a Newfoundland and put a sign up that says beware of bear.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. If Emily could find one, that would be great. Man.
So,
but other than that, it was a really calm.
Oh, it was a great dog, man. After that, both he and I laughed about it. Thankfully, he was chill about it, and I pet the dog and everything. But I thought to myself, this bear is licking me. Why is this bear, like, is he trying to get a taste of me? Like he wants to, like you'll lick something before you actually put it in your mouth to see what it tastes like. What is he trying to do here?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Like,
that's why. And then when I asked the question, what part was he licking? I said to myself, does it really matter? Because whatever it is might be eaten.
Yeah, he's gonna bite whatever it is, man. So
good.
that's just a tip for anybody. If you're in the water and a shark licks you, get out of the water. No.
Actually, sharks are very interesting animals, but that's a whole nother
story for
we're not going to talk about that.
We don't. This is World of Pets. I don't know anybody that owns a shark for pets. No. So anyway,
and if they did, they'd be crazy. Unless it's a security measure for a moat or something like that.
Yeah, like I said. So once you see a Newfoundland, and especially if you can do its hair to actually look like a wild, grown bear, they're not big enough that you could be mistaken as a grizzly or a brown bear, but they're just the right size, fully grown, that they look like a medium-sized black bear. You're like, I'm looking at a black bear right here. And I was going to get one and put up beware of bear on my yard, Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. So.
Well, the whole mushing experience started because someone was attempting to discourage me. When we went to Alaska, they had misrepresented a tour experience by saying that we would be on a sled and go with the Iditarod dogs And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm going to Alaska. I'm going to actually get in with the Iditarod dogs and we're going to go on the sled. No,
Oh,
they misrepresented the whole experience. It was like a sleigh that you would ride around Christmas time, where 7 people can get on this big sleigh, and they had like 6 dogs pull. And I was like, this is not, what are you people doing? Like, I'm thinking to myself, but I said, okay, well, maybe we're taking this to the experience, right? Because it is Alaska, and we're going to go, maybe we're just taking this as like a little sample ride. And then on this little sample ride, we're going to get to the spot where we get our gear and go out with the doggies on the. Oh, she found it.
no, that's my phone.
Oh yes, but I didn't know if she sent it to you. Emily's good. Next thing you know, you were looking at your phone, and there it is.
It does look like a little bit like a
Wow,
bear.
it does.
Yeah.
Huh? But we were misled that we would be on an Iditarod adventure. So at the end of the experience, I was kind of in shock because of how they sold this experience. I'm like, wait a minute, where are the dogs? So I asked this gentleman, I said, sir, it was explained that we were actually going to go on a backwoods Iditarod experience. Do you know that man looked at me like I was crazy? And that's where the word discouragement came in.
Yeah.
Everyone that's listening, do not allow the haters, I call it, or the dream killers to discourage you in any moment where you know what you want to do and what you want to achieve. That's when discouragement will show up. So I want everybody to say, Sabrina said, hit discouragement in the face.
That's right.
Don't let it in, right? Well, this gentleman looked at me like I had 2 ears and my nose was on the wrong side of my head. And I was at the time petting this one doggy because I get really, really cold and they are so warm. The shepherds, they're very warm dogs. And so I was petting this one who actually ran an Iditarod but was retired. So I was petting him because I was cold, and he was like, yeah, she's cold. And I'm like, yeah, he's warm, you know. And this guy looked at me and he said, oh, man, you wouldn't get to do that. You would have to have $5,000 just for us to think about letting you go with us. I looked at him. I said, oh, he doesn't know who he's talking to. And I said, okay, I'm sure my face is communicating well. I didn't have to speak because I'm told my face tells it all in the moment. And I said, okay, Sabrina, give your face a little longer and then you can fix it in a minute. And he said, and I guess something on my face really, and then if we decide to take you, then it's going to be an extra 2 or 3 thousand, and you have to be in great shape to see if you're going to be on the sled and blah, blah, blah. I said, the devil is a lie. I cut it off at the knees. I said, the devil is a lie. I will go. And I guarantee you, I will not pay that price. I looked at him and I said, you guys need to stop misrepresenting your tour. So at that time, I wasn't part of the group that I travel with now. So I didn't really have a recourse. This is something I had booked on my own. And with the community that I'm part of, I remember logging onto the portal and there it was. The Iditarod on the backside of it wasn't the Iditarod, it was to run with the Iditarod dogs who had either, they're training for the race or they've ran in a race in the Teton Mountains. So I was like, ah! Now the price, what did I tell that man? No, sir. I don't even think I paid $2,000 for the experience. But that's because of the program I'm with. Okay. And I'm including gas, driving up there. Well, if I throw in my tires, the brand new winter tires that I bought for my 4x4, I may be hitting $2,000. And that includes my hotel stay and the experience. So get in the car. I drive in the Tetons. I pray a lot because I do not like driving in the snow. So God is so amazing, gentlemen. He literally sent me a snowplow right in front of my vehicle, and I followed
Amen.
snow plow through most of the Tetons. It was amazing. I'm like,
Sweet.
oh God, high five! It's
I'll just
great.
tuck in behind him, you know. And,
Yeah, it's sweet. So once we get there and we get to the experience, the clothing line, I'm one of those people who like 100. So if you're saying, oh my gosh, Sabrina, that sounds cold, it can be, but gear has come a long way. I spent about an hour in REI with an expert for cold gear. And I mean, the materials are great. They have this amazing wool that you can wear underneath. They have coats that are rated, which I had one, and I think Emily has a picture of. It's rated to, I think, -32 or -8, something. I'm getting it mixed up with the shoes. My boots was rated for negative below. So part of the challenge of doing extreme sports is getting the right gear.
yep.
Yeah.
If you're geared up right, you can go. They even have those little hand warmers. I had the. Oh, I didn't bring any in the room. They have the little hand warmers that you break and you can put it in. And then I have a face mask that has a heating system. But that was a little bit too much for, it's athletic. You have to guide the sleigh. So, like the gentleman lied, the discourager lied and said you never get to do it. Well, in this particular experience, you went out with a guide who taught you how to keep the sleigh or the basket, it's not a sleigh, the basket on the path. Because as you're going down this path, you do not know how deep that snow is.
Right.
No idea. But we had one crazier person in our group that actually jumped out into the snow, but he's about 7 feet tall. He said, and I said, why would you do that? What if it was taller than you? I know you're tall, but now we have to stop our experience to get you out. You know what I'm saying? And I would have been mad. So anyway, we get to go, I think it was like 8 miles out and 8 miles back. However, I did the first leg. They paired me up with another gentleman who came alone. I guess he traveled with God and his angels too. And they paired me up with him. We had an amazing guide. And the guide, by law, has to take the team out the first half mile. Then we switch. I went first. I was like, yes, first. The reason why I would advise anyone who's thinking about doing this to go first is because you can build a relationship with the team that you have that you're guiding. Okay, and I'll explain why in a little bit. And also, I enjoy taking pictures, so I had gear that's actually, I had all my professional camera and everything. It's in a waterproof backpack. All this stuff that's available out there. So on the way out, I took the first leg out. It is an athletic experience. It was sad. There was about 15 people that went out, about 4 or 5 teams, and we didn't know it. But on the first leg out to the place where the little doggies are resting, the instructors was testing all of us students, okay, to see who the best team. So I noticed we kept passing all these other teams. I'm like, oh, another team we passed. I'm going inside. Yes. That's just because I like speed. So those of you who are speed junkies, not the drug, but anything that goes fast, I have to be specific in this day, right? Not the drug, but anything fast cars, fast planes. Oh my gosh, guys, go mushing. Bond with your team on the way out. So I'm bonding with the team. There are a couple of videos that Emily has, which you probably will add, where I'm walking through, talking to my whole team. There are 2 dogs that lead the team. One is I call him the alpha, but they don't call him that. One is the alpha and one is the partner to the alpha. Now the team, the lead and the co-lead, they're skillfully selected because all dogs do not pair well together in the lead and co-lead. Sometimes they'll fight or they just don't work well together. So our team, I think Titan was one of our doggies, whether he was the co-lead or the mainly, but you can tell the difference because the alpha dog is kind of like, okay, Sabrina, when I'm going, are we going now? And the co-lead is like, let's go, I'm ready. You know, you can see it in the video. He's jumping up, barking. He did not know me that well when I was taking that particular video shot. And I think Emily has that one if it uploaded well. And that was done on purpose because I wanted him to get to know me. And then we took the dogs all the way out to 8 miles. And there's also shots in there of the destination. Once I got to that destination, I understood what they meant by snow caps. You will see the little, I call them little mushroom caps, and there's no human touch at all. It's like humans are not out there. You don't see footprints everywhere. You don't, it's just, I can't explain it. Once you see the videos, it'll make more sense.
Very fun.
Yep.
Now, there's a huge misnomer. Some people think that, oh my gosh, they're being abusive to the dogs, racing them. That's why I took the videos I did. Those dogs
live for it. They live for it.
Yeah. Yes, they do. And in fact, when they're not running, they're whimpering. They're actually like, come on, let's go. Let the brake up. Let's go. I'm ready to go now. And you can see them do that, and they're crying and they're whimpering like, I want to go. So in the shots, you'll see the beautiful spot where the little doggies rest. And I'm actually wearing one that's part of the line. This is a different team. Emily also has a shot from Lady Grace Gifts where we have a clothing line that features that experience. And I've had people stop me in the store like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? You know, I want one of those, which is really fun. It's a great conversation piece.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
And so there's Emily will have some shots of the little doggies while they're resting. So at the end of that, oh, she has it. So that's the co-lead. The one in the snow is the alpha. The dog, as they run, they will literally go down and cool themselves off by doing exactly what the alpha.
Oh, they're ready to go. Oh man.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Now you hear that one that's barking? That's kind of mocking me as I talk.
Good job, Titan. Good job. You guys are doing good.
So that the doggy that was mocking me, I noticed that when the instructor called out the calls, that dog would bark. And I said, Sabrina, I couldn't tell anybody this because they would think I was crazy. I said, that dog is barking the command, I think. So the instructor would call the command, and the dog, that same dog you heard, would bark. And I said, now that dog is barking the commands. I know he is, but I wasn't going to share that because people would think I was crazy. So when we got to the end, and the video you saw, I was actually commanding the basket to keep it on the road. And I wanted them to know I appreciated them for that work, because that's some work, okay? Especially if I'm like, yeah, let's go. Well, the instructors at the end of the first leg, when we got to this beautiful place, we didn't know it, but the instructors were having a conversation, because whichever team did the best on the first leg, they would get to lead the rest of the teams back.
Oh, cool.
And so we took that spot. I was like, yes. On the inside, I was like, yes. I'm so excited. In there, we have a series of pictures. There's one shot Emily has where I didn't know there was a person in it, and this is bad to say, but I don't really like people in my shots. So I shared that with Emily because I really cared. as that one. But you can see how remote it is, how far it is. And because I was out photographing while the little doggies were resting, I was walking, and many of you who do extreme skiing and snowboarding know what I'm talking about, where they have those huge poles and you can only see the tops to tell you how deep the snow is. Well, I saw those little tops, but I was so excited on the, the speed, the adrenaline high, I guess is
Oh
guys
yeah, yeah.
that I saw that little pole and I was walking, and then all of a sudden my right leg went all the way down I started laughing into the thing, and everybody that was talking just went silent, and you can hear this gasp and me going, yeah. I'm like, okay, thank God I'm limber, so I just use the other leg, pull me back out. I was like, whoa, this is deep. So you want to pay attention to the signs that are out there. I don't know. I was just in my own little world. Well, on the way back, and I'll make this short, but on the way back, I had to sit in the basket while the other gentleman guides the sleigh, right? It's his turn to learn. So I'm sitting in there. At this point, I've built a relationship with the doggies. And as you guys can tell, my voice is very loud. When we first started out, the whole training team looked right at me and said, great, we don't have an avalanche alert. And I was like, yes. Why? Because I was on the back side of the mountain before, not in the Teton, somewhere else, and I laughed and the mountain shook. That's how high my voice is in pitch. And they knew that. So I was like, yes, I can be happy. I don't have to worry about setting off an avalanche because that's possible. My voice. So, and the way my voice is, it just echoes in that open space and it can set off an avalanche. So anyway, we were going back in the basket, and the doggy that I suspect was repeating the commands to the other dog by barking. Mm-hmm. Well, as we go faster, I started to laugh because that's just me. So we were going, and I was like, good job, Titan. And I said, ha, 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 and then the little doggy barked. And then we start going faster. And I started laughing again. And I was like, great. And the little doggy barked. And we kept going faster and faster. And now these dogs have been training for the Iditarod. One doggy, he runs like this sideways, and he ran the Iditarod just like that. It's kind of, I'm like, wait a minute. His body is, well, whatever works, Well, the instructor, he was right behind me, and he said, I have never seen anything like this. Like, she is making these dogs go faster than what he was doing when he's training them. And that was so much fun. And I'd start laughing, and they went so fast. Well, we were going so fast that the instructor thought, where are the other teams? We blew them out. We had to pull over. And we waited about 35 to 40 minutes for everybody to catch up with us.
You were moving, man.
Yes. Because I started to get a little cold. And I said, wait a minute, is this fun? Oh, and I'm like, the little doggies started barking again, and they kept going faster. It was amazing. Do you guys have questions? Is there any questions out there of anybody who wanted to go mushing and just said, I want to, but I'm not sure because...
Now, are you yourself attached to the sled in some way, harnessed in?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
That was
you have to be. Well, when I'm sitting in, you're just sitting in. That's why it's good to be. There were two ladies who on the first leg out, that they must have weighed about 500 pounds between the two of them. I appreciate their instructor because their instructor made them get out and walk up the hill because it was not fair to the dogs. I agree with that. I really agree with that. It is not fair. You do not go on this type of adventure and not do something to be in shape. Do something. Build your abs. Walk 5-10 miles a day. Do something. But be fair, you know what I'm saying, to the dogs, because I watched him walk up that hill and I said, I respect that man because he wasn't putting those dogs through that. That's too much.
Yeah.
They between the two, they weigh more than Iditarod gear when they go on the back. No, no, ma'am, that's unacceptable. So I appreciate him. Um, that was the only thing, but no, you're not harnessed in, and you have to follow your instructor very well because based on how your weight is shifted on the two little legs that are the back of the basket will direct the basket. So if you're not paying attention and you're not leaning the right way, you're going in the snow. And you don't know how deep that snow is. So you are highly motivated to stay on the path.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any more questions, but I can verify about the snow thing because we went snowshoeing for one of my high school classes, and we went up to learn how to build snow forts and the snow drifts up on this mountain pass. And so we packed everything down around. Somebody went to make the bathroom, and get the little nice Douglas fir so we could have a nice toilet seat and all that stuff. But we dug it out, hollowed it out. We were supposed to stay overnight, but the parents decided they didn't want everybody staying overnight, so we just dug it out kind of round and put a bench in it. And but anyways, I'm out there talking to my instructor, and I was like, "This is a cool. We took our snowshoes off. I think we got it packed down pretty good." He's like, "Yeah." So I was just talking to him. I was like walking, and he's in front of me, and I'm kind of just looking around, and I started a sentence and stepped one step out of the area that we had to pack down, and I was right on top of a tree. And I went, whoop,
Ooh.
that deep, and I didn't even touch the ground. I was still just in the middle of that tree. I was like, "Help, please!"
Here's a hand. Get you to grab it.
That was funny. That was funny. So
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Sabrina, we have a question actually from Deb, the show's sponsor. She says, are you sitting or standing when you're in the basket or sled?
Okay, you're standing when you're guiding it,
Okay.
keeping it on the path because you have to shift weight. But when you're in the basket, you're sitting.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. So you can't actually guide the sled or actually like have the reins while you're sitting down.
No, that's why they pair you up with someone else. Because the other gentleman, it was his turn to learn how to keep us on the path. And I have to give him credit because we were going really fast because of me as I was sitting in the basket, laughing and encouraging the little doggies to do well. That man he was doing a really, really good job because he was keeping us on the path the whole time we were blowing those other teams out of the water or out of the snow. Getting touched,
Right. Yeah. Huh. That's cool. I picture it like I grew up in the Northeast, and actually I grew up in one of the snowiest cities in the continental United States,
Mhm.
and well, I mean we'd get anywhere from 180 inches to 200 inches of snow a year, and it was just, I mean, you're talking snow banks that when they would plow them, they'd be 8-9 feet high, just stacked with snow. Um, I remember there was a year we got snow as early as Halloween, and there was another year we had snow as late as Easter. So I mean, it was just a long, long season of snow, and it just reminds me of snowmobiling. I don't know if you've ever been on a snowmobile. Now, if you have the right equipment, snowmobiling is fun. If you don't, you're wet, cold, and miserable the entire time. Because I mean, you're going anywhere from 50 to 70 miles an hour, just depending on the trail you're on and what you're doing. And if you're not riding correctly and you're behind a person, uh, you're getting blasted with snow. And so that kind of is what that reminds me of with all that snow flying up at you.
Mhm. That coat that I wore was also waterproof too,
Yep.
repellent, but it didn't matter because the layers I had underneath. If you're sweating, I didn't know if I would sweat on because I've never been. I didn't know if I'd start sweating because what the athletic level was required, but I had on gear that was what they call sweat wicking, meaning it pulls it off your body and comes out
Moisture
through
wicking.
the
Yep.
layer, yes, of the clothing. You just can't spare expense when it comes to those items and you're on the backside of a
Well,
mountain.
you're talking about, you were talking about the equipment for the extreme sports.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing in the military when you're doing your cold weather training. You'd be surprised if you have the right equipment, even in cold temperatures, how much you sweat when you're actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will. And then if you have the wrong equipment, now you're running into problems like pneumonia because you're sweating and you're layering the stuff on yourself while you're sweating. So you got that hot cold mix, and that can be dangerous.
Right.
So you got to make sure you got the right equipment in those extreme temperatures and in those situations. You got to make sure you know what you're doing with that stuff and have the right equipment for sure, or you can have
Right.
some issues.
Well, hats off to you, Mr. David. You didn't panic when you hit that snow. Oh, yes. So you can see my little pink coat. The color is strategic because
Okay, that makes more sense.
mm-hmm.
Haven't seen the actual, yeah.
Now that's the guy they paired me up with that was standing behind. And when we blew the other teams out, he was leading us out. So he did an excellent job. Excellent job.
Sounds cool. That's really cool.
First, you can't see my face because everything's covered. I don't want anything.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
And that hat that I'm wearing, it's an extreme ski hat. They have the one that's done with wool. I got it here in Colorado. I think I got that one in Colorado at one of the ski places because that thing is warm, like warm.
Yeah.
I've survived combat. I've been through some extreme situations and temperatures, and I'm not brave enough to go skiing. So yeah, I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna break everything on my body if I try. I'm convinced of it. But yeah, it's
It used to be my favorite thing. I just can't physically do it anymore.
yeah. No, never been a skier. Never been skiing. It was popular in our area. Like you said, you used to do it, David, up there in Colorado. I'm sure it's popular up there too. But yeah, I'm not ready to die just yet. So.
Well, Anthony, if you believe you're going to die when you going to go skiing, guess what's going to happen? So my advice to you is not go skiing until you change your mental picture.
Listen,
the Bible says to fear not, so I don't.
the voice of truth, right? Yeah. It I don't know, maybe one of these days I might do the cross country one, but because then at least if I fall, it's only my 5 feet 11 inches, not falling tumbling down a hill. Look like Jack and Jill rolling down the hill, and some people tumbling after me. But well, that is an interesting experience for sure, Sabrina. We're so grateful you're able to join us again and share that with us. If you want to share a little more of what you did last time, as far as the experiences of traveling around the world and photographing animals and kind of having that connection, and how people can get in touch with you and your group, go ahead and share that.
I think Emily may have a couple of other pictures that we didn't share before. I think there's one of a bighorn sheep. I think that's what it is. I was on the backside of another mountain in Colorado, the Colorado National Monument, and took a couple of shots of. Now those, I'm very adventurous, but when it comes to those big horned animals, I like to keep my car in between me and the animal. So the vehicle I have has a full open roof, and I will step out of the roof and shoot the animal, and that's how. I mean, the animal, if I wanted to, I could open the door and no, not going to do that. But for anyone that wants to reach out to me, if you text me, you can text me at 970-645-7776. That's 970-645-7776, and share with us what's on the top of your bucket list and what did someone tell you couldn't do, because there's a high probability that you can do it and not have to pay a lot of money to do it as well. And if you want to, you can text unpack, the word like you're unpacking your luggage, unpack, and join us. And we have a complimentary Unpack Your Bucket List session where we sit down, ask you a couple of questions, understand your travel style and what's important to you, and then we show you how we book it and go at a discount using your travel style.
Awesome.
Very cool.
That is so great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your experiences with us. Before we close out today, I'd like to talk about. Oh, there's that big horn sheep. Look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
saw a bunch by the sand dunes just a couple weeks ago.
Little ram right there, man.
Is that what it is? A ram? Yes.
Yeah.
And you can see his little eye bugged out, like, okay, what's she gonna do?
Yeah, he's like, let me take a look at figure this out. Yep, look at that. Emily should have one or two last slides. Deb and I, this is Operation Die Hard. Deb introduced me. She's our show sponsor. She introduced me to Project Die Hard a year or so ago, and it is based out of Paducah, Kentucky. And what Project Die Hard is it is a 501c3 nonprofit that focuses on helping veterans with their mental health and providing a place for them. They've got some land out in Kentucky, and they're trying to develop it to have a place for veterans to stay. They currently, the first Wednesday of every month, have reached a deal with IHOP, and they do a veterans breakfast free for veterans every Wednesday, and they bring in a certain amount of veterans. I think they said they've had up to 30 this year. Veterans come out and enjoy this breakfast that's provided through Project Die Hard out there in Kentucky. And Deb and I are part of a small group out here in Arizona that is in contact with Project Die Hard in their headquarters out in Kentucky with the intent of trying to get something in the next foreseeable future up and running here in Tucson. That we have quite a homeless veterans population out here in Tucson, and we'd like to help them. And anybody that is a regular on this show and listens or attends the show knows that I have a heart for veterans. I am a combat veteran myself, and I have a huge heart for veterans, and we want to see our veterans taken care of. So we are actually going out to Paducah September the 1st through the 3rd. This is a little slide that they made of what is going to be happening out there. If you'd like to help us out, help Project Die Hard in general, the whole organization would be helping everything. I'll go ahead and scan that QR code. They've got some fundraisers going right now, a Fill the Bucket fundraiser. They've got other things happening. This is an organization you cannot go wrong in helping. Project Die Hard does everything they can to help veterans, and nobody's getting rich off of this charity. This isn't a charity that's hoodwinking you. There's nobody getting rich off of this. It is just a group of veterans and individuals that are wanting to make sure our veterans are taken care of. And so this is very near and dear to me. It's very near and dear to Deb. And so we wanted to leave all of our listeners and viewers with that opportunity to help out. And I look forward to coming back in September and being able to tell you guys what we learned. And hopefully sometime in the near future, don't know when, but hopefully sometime in the near future, we even have a projected date of when we can get something up and running here in Tucson. So that's what's happening with Project Die Hard, and we wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Very good. Very good. We can't wait. Is there another slide, Emily? Thought there were two. Well, either way, I'll hit our sponsor again, debspets.com. That's DEBSPETS.com. And again, go support Emily, our engineer over on the World of Ability or World of Ability podcast. And definitely want to give last words to, there we go. Go ahead and finish this out here, brother.
Well, this is just one of the fundraisers is talking about. This is called the Fill the Can Challenge. And this small Tucson team we've assembled, Deb and I talked about it today. We would like to, from Tucson, from the different things we do, putting things on our social media accounts, getting the word out there with any organizations we're involved with, we'd like to see if, from representing Tucson here, we could raise $2,000 before we get out there in September. So if you're listening and you're here in the area in Southern Arizona, or no matter where you are, but you would like to donate on our behalf so that when we go out there, we're able to say, hey, we want to not just be a part of this, we want to help out as well. Go ahead and you can donate right here by following the instructions and the links on the slide.
Very cool, man. Great job. So in your regular kind of words, if anybody's out there that needs help, Anthony, you're better at saying it than I am.
Yeah. On that note, we are always, whether you're a veteran or not, but with my focus and intent on veterans, 20, it's been said, and the number might even increase now. I've heard a couple different people say the numbers are more than that, but they say on average 22 veterans a day end up committing suicide. And whether you're a veteran or not a veteran, you're important to us, and you matter to God, and you matter to us. And we would rather have a 3 a.m. conversation with you for as long as it takes than to wake up in the morning and hear your name come across our TV in the headlines as something you just couldn't take. And so please reach out to us in the chat if you need any help. We check the chats periodically. We'll take a look at it. We'll get a hold of you. We'll do everything we can to help you out. But please understand that you matter to us and you matter to your creator.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like it and share it, guys. Sabrina, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you for having me. And well said, Mr. Anthony. Yes.
Yes, thank you. All right. Well, until next time, David, we will see you next week.